الإيمان أن السلام حياة قد جاء في القرآن أن السلام.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to iTREND, an episode just before our Ramadan starts. Today we've got a wonderful lineup for you, from fantastic ideas to fabulous decor and buildings. This week has been a very busy week. Yesterday I was at the Shwane Muslim School, and it was absolutely wonderful to be surrounded by learners who themselves initiated an event for pH awareness, something that's very, very close to my heart. And many of you have watched Zaheerah Bham on our show previously, and it's something that I feel very strongly about. And it was remarkable to see learners take the stand to actually initiate this. We were overwhelmed. It was truly learners creating legacies, portraying what Muslims should be doing from such a young age. It was wonderful, and shukran to everyone who mentioned that they love watching the show and they follow it. So a big hello and a shout out to all of you as well. We just realized with our Facebook memories that we are now 1 year in operation. iTREND started 1 year ago last year, with the first people being on our show, Fems and Tasneem Valley. And Jazakallah to them. I think they kickstarted a fabulous show that showcases talent within our community, talent around us, and very proudly South African talent. And Alhamdulillah, we're here 1 year later, coming back to you, and Alhamdulillah, we're still on air. And a very big shout out and a shukran to the Whimsical Whisk, who has sent us a beautiful cake, which we will definitely be enjoying after the show. But to get started today, we were talking about Ramadan, and on a number of chats, people are discussing what they're preparing, what they're putting out there, what savories they're making. And we came across the site called Pots, Pans and Pancakes. And this wonderful lady, Raisa Ahmed Rashid, who is going to be telling us what other ideas we have besides that to grace our tables during this Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the studio.
Walaikum salam, Zaheerah, and thank you for having me.
Raisa, it's such a pleasure to have you on. I mean, when you first tagged me in the post, it was about this breakfast revolution. And I think this couldn't have been more well-timed, because it's the first we've heard about your savory revolution. Tell me a little bit about yourself first.
Okay, I'm Raisa Ahmed Rashid. I'm 29 years old. I'm qualified as an educator, but I'm a stay-at-home mom at the moment, and I have a passion in three things. I love creativity, I love cooking, and I love education, and I try and bring it all together and just manage my time and enrich myself in my
I think
day.
you've definitely pulled it all together, because you'll definitely be educating us on a lot of food today. You started your blog about 5 years ago, you mentioned?
Yeah, my parenting blog 5 years ago, but specifically this idea started 5 years ago, within the making 5 years ago with my food, and Instagram is 3 years at the moment.
And you've built up quite a following in terms of people looking to you for ideas. When you first tagged us, it was on the breakfast revolution, and that had tons of people sending in ideas on what to do for breakfast. How did that idea come about?
Okay, Zaheerah, that idea actually came about when I was searching for food to introduce solids to my 3-year-old. At that time, he was 6 months, and I realized that the problem we have is we are inundated with cereals that are said to be healthy, yet when you research it, it's not. And I think that was the foundation. I wanted to give my son and my daughter a good, healthy foundation of eating habits. And that's when the breakfast revolution was born, because I felt, what am I going to feed them? If cereals are not healthy, then I need to get ideas on things that we're going to eat. And breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And we need to be prepared to have it wholesome, nutritional, and a great start to our day, and that's how I started the breakfast revolution.
And all those ideas, I mean, there were tons of ladies that were sending in their ideas, which I also loved seeing, because it wasn't just one person saying, this is what I think you should be doing. It was other ladies also saying, this is what works for my family, this is what I enjoy. And I love the fact that it was showcased on a platform where it was so easily accessible for everyone else.
Yeah, that's what I try to do. I don't want to own it. It's not about my account. It's not about me. I needed a platform where somebody can inspire me to go forward with this idea. So I decided to open up a hashtag and have a portfolio that could run not only this year, but carry on running for everybody. Yes. Because I'm not the only one that feels that cereals are not healthy. And if you go on internet, you'd see that there's a huge movement towards eating healthier. So I've opened up a hashtag. also subsequently to the Savory Revolution hashtag the year before, I decided to do the same with the Breakfast Revolution, and everybody could contribute. I could be inspired, and anyone could go into that hashtag and see what everyone else is making. And I think that's what social media is, inspiration for us all.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned to you off air, I'm so constantly in awe of the amount of talent within our community. These ladies are so remarkable, those that have been on our show and those that are also being featured on our show currently. You have to see the spread that Raisa has put before us. I mean, the amount of time and effort it takes, it's something quite remarkable and something very talented. So well done to you. What I have to ask you is, what from the Breakfast Revolution, before we start on the Savory Revolution, on the Breakfast Revolution, what has been your favorite items? What has stood out for you the most?
The Breakfast Revolution, I'm a big fan of protein-packed breakfast, right? So I think that a lot of people have been given ideas with things to put with eggs, with chia. What's turned out is, I think I'm amazed at how inspirational people have taken an idea and evolved it. And it's simple ideas, and you see the creativity, and I am inspired by it. And I think that has been amazing. It's simple things you don't think of putting together, and people are putting it together and inspiring me.
And I think, like you said, it's twofold. Number one, we definitely need to move away from more processed foods to more wholesome, fresh foods and different ideas. And the second thing that stood out for me when I've been watching your page has been the fact that we've got these talented ladies, and from the time all of us were young, we've been told, you've got to be in the kitchen, you've got to know how to do things. And many of us have resisted that. But when you see ideas like this coming up and you see how easily accessible it is for you, it makes you want to go into the kitchen. It makes you want to make things.
Exactly, and that's what it should be, you know. Cooking shouldn't, it's a skill, it's a life skill that we need to learn. It shouldn't be a daunting task. And I think if we could just focus our energy away from resisting what we have to do and enjoying what we do, we would be such happier, more fulfilling people inside.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think that's what I think I try to inspire. I try to inspire people to love, because everybody needs to cook, whether you're an attorney, whether in anything, any profession, you're going to have to go into it. Do it, enjoy it, see that there is this enjoyment, and try it out and have fun doing it.
I think you mentioned something very prevalent, because somebody said to me that when you're cooking, be very careful about how you're feeling on that day, because whatever emotions you're cooking with gets put into your food, and that's what you feed your family.
I agree, and I do think, and food is a way of bringing everybody together, you know, and it should be a de-stress. It should be you coming into the kitchen and leave whatever happened in the day, and just be with yourself and enjoy what you're doing. And I honestly feel that people, women, men also cook.
Yes.
Everybody should have this mindset when they cook.
So I love that. It actually means see it less of a chore rather see it as something you enjoy, something that de-stresses you, something that you're giving back to part of your family.
Definitely.
Tell me how your Instagram name came about, Pots, Pans and Pancakes, because I know there must be a story behind this.
Oh, there is. There's a story behind it. It's a very long name. I know there's the underscores so many times, but when I started my page, I wanted something that could bring me together, and that's what I enjoy, everything in the kitchen. So I've got a little bit of pots, I've got the pans, and pancakes is the sweetness, and that's what I'm about. There's nothing that I don't like, and I wanted a name that was catchy. So that's why I chose that.
I love it. And your little one, I'm sure, is enjoying all the food that comes out of the kitchen.
Oh, he does. I've got 2 kids, so my smallest is 3 years old. He loves being with me in the kitchen. And sometimes he could be a bit of a picky eater, but what I do is, when he's resisting, I let go and I reintroduce it. So he is open to quite a bit, but there are certain things as a 3-year-old that he may not have. And then we'll go back to it in 3 or 4 weeks' time. And it's amazing when you don't pressure them and just allow them to be themselves, have their own taste, and keep reintroducing it, showing them you eating it, and he takes to it.
I think that's very good tips for mums who have kids that are picky eaters, because those are very, very difficult children in terms of being able to make sure that they get the right nutrients in and the right food in, and then you're worried that they may not like something. So I love the idea that you say, don't fuss too much about it, just leave it, come back again in 3 months and reintroduce.
Exactly. And I think because the food is so colorful when it's healthy, kids are just drawn to it. And that's what should be. Food should be things that you want to eat. And Alhamdulillah, Allah has given us such a variety of food that appealing on its own. It doesn't need to be actually all presented. It's just so simple, and I think kids, when they have it, and my children with the cheese platters, they just dig in, and it's amazing to see it, the response that they are giving, which you can see that their minds have not been shaped in a particular way, and they just introduced it, and that's how they are accepting it.
I think very soon you'll have to start a kids revolution so that we can all see what ideas we have for our children, and that can take off, because it'll give us lots of lunch ideas and weekend ideas, because I think very often with our kids we struggle about what they need to be eating. So I love it.
But that's the beauty of the breakfast revolution, and I used to tell people healthy food can be eaten anytime. So what I do is in the morning I make breakfast and I pack the same thing for lunch for my daughter. So it saves time and you're eating the same healthy foods.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they've been very open to it, like you said.
They have. There is certain resistance, and I'm okay with that because everyone doesn't have the same taste. But to the most of it, they have, because they see us eating it.
Yes.
And obviously, we are their models, and they mimic our behaviors.
Absolutely. Raisa, before we go on to these fabulous foods, we're going to have to take an ad break. But first, tell me quickly about the Savory Revolution. How did you start that? When did you start that? And also why? Why the Savory Revolution?
Okay, it was started in my home more than 3 years ago, on Instagram and social media 3 years ago. And why I started it is because I wanted a healthier way to introduce foods in Ramadan to my child. She's going to be fasting, my oldest is going to be fasting, and I needed to have something which I could give her that is going to inculcate healthy habits into her. And I just found that savories, they don't save us time in Ramadan. We need to open up our time. We need to plan better. We need to eat healthy. The demands of fasting take a toll on our body. So we need to eat healthier, and we need to have healthy habits. And in that way, that's where the whole revolution was started. In the same way, find alternative, healthier food that is appealing.
Absolutely.
And that's where it started, yeah.
And how has the response been? Because if this is now the 3rd year running, how has the response been and built up from people that are following you?
It's been amazing. I'm inspired by it, and also I started it for myself. I never expected my following to grow, and I think that the bulk of it came from the Savory Revolution. If I have to say, last year my followings were 300, and I still carried on, and I still carried on doing it. But people have taken to the idea because people are more inclined to internet, to looking at different things and opening up their mind to change. And it's been phenomenal. It's really has.
And I think the one thing you must also remember is that the following may be one aspect, but many people take those recipes off, will forward it to friends, will forward it to family members that may not be on social media at all. So your reach is far greater than that as well.
That's
which
true.
is fantastic.
I wouldn't have known that. But I do agree. There's people that I meet that said, you know what, I heard about your interview last year, or you doing the same. And I'm amazed because I never thought people are actually doing it and taking to it, because it's a radical idea.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So when we come back
idea.
after the ad break, we will be discussing what radical ideas you can have for this iftar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back after that ad break. We are discussing with Raisa Ahmed Rashid from Pots, Pans and Pancakes all about her new Savory Revolution for this year, Ramadan. Raisa, lots of ladies said to me when they saw this ad coming up, said, please don't kill samosas for us. And as much as they said that, I said, but we need better ideas. We need other ideas. We need healthy ideas. Yeah. So tell me what you have prepared.
Okay, firstly, I'm not killing samosas. You can have samosas any time of the year. I just feel for our bodies in fasting, it's fried and baked savories is not there. So please have savories in another month's time, right? So what I prepared here is a few ideas. I've presented it, but it's really just take the idea. You don't have to present it the way I've done. This is my passion.
Your presentation is amazing. I'd want to eat at the table.
Yeah, but basically this is the ideas. Now we're going into winter, Zaheerah, and what I've done is I've brought in some soups. Soups are great. They are a way of bringing nutrients. You can add wheat, you can add vegetables. And I think that if we could replace the savories with the soups instead, firstly, it's an easier transition into our body. We feel a bit better. It's not that bloating feeling. You're getting a lot of taste, a lot of nutrition. So here I've got tomato soup, and it's with our with bread, a toasted cheese. It's simple, it's easy, it would be
and also
healthy,
very filling.
and it would be filling. And I do it as shots because it's just what I do at home is we have our starters just to get something in, and then I make normal food like the rest
Yes.
of the year, because what I can eat in the rest of the year I should be eating in Ramadan.
Absolutely.
So that's my idea.
But I love how neatly, you have to see how neatly these sandwiches have been cut up and put on top of it. I love the idea of it. I love how filling it is, but the fact that it's a full starter.
Yeah, so that's how I try to balance it, and we're getting the breads, we're getting the liquids, we're getting the vegetables in. And you could take this idea and you could go with it with any soup. With you could change the bread with rye bread or bread sticks. The ideas are endless, right?
Perfect.
And then I've got the second idea for presentation would be another, it's the bowl in the bread, which is just an easier way to get someone excited for this. You know, the samosa is a complicated thing. A pie is a complicated thing. Let's take the savory revolution and put that same energy
Yes.
and to present something healthy. Okay, so those are the soups because it's winter. Getting on to the warmer things, I name it velvet milk. More traditionally, it would be kheer or almond milk.
Yes.
But that's what I have. Firstly, milk is so nutritional, and it's packed with nuts. It's packed with, I make mine with some crushed wheat. And to have a glass of that with some sunnah food, which is dates with cucumber, hot and cold balancing, you need to transition into the fast, breaking your fast, cooling the stomach, eating well, because our prayer in ibadah goes on throughout the night, and you don't want to be feeling sluggish, you don't want to be feeling full, and come 15 days of constant savories, you're going to get that reflux, you're going to get that uneasiness. So I'm trying to bring about ideas that are more easy on our tummy. And then we've got for gluten-free, because people are going after the idea of gluten-free revolution, if you could say that. People are looking for ideas, and I've got something for them also. This is a sweet potato round. I've got basil pesto on it. I've got feta cheese. I've got a pepper dew. And you just basically put it in the oven, all prepared beforehand. There's no rush of that 5 o'clock time. I don't want to have that. I want it to be easy. I want it to be where you actually focus on yourself and your spirituality, because that's what preparation is supposed to be.
And that's what, absolutely, that's the preparation for Ramadan.
That's it. And when I do the savories, why I do it, I cut out savories completely from and my focus before Ramadan is food preparation. So I prepare, I've got a whole menu, I've got a 30-day, what I'm doing for iftar, what I'm doing for my food, and I prepare, I marinate, I put back. So come Ramadan next week, I've got absolutely nothing to do. I have to take out, maybe it's a quick starter or salad, and it takes me 15 or 20 minutes to set this up, leave it in the fridge, bring it out, pop it in the oven, relax and wait.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think you've made a very valid point about being very careful and conscious of the foods that we eat in Ramadan, because you also don't want to be sluggish. You don't want to be struggling when you have to do Tarawih, when you have to praying Quran later on. You need foods that are going to keep you going. And very often we eat well through the year, and for some reason come Ramadan, the time you need the most energy, we probably have the worst eating habits.
It's one word, it's tradition.
Yes.
It's something that it's in us because it's our childhood, and it's just a sentiment.
Yes.
If we have to just think past that and think what is good for us, that's what we need to think about, and that's why we do the savories.
Absolutely.
In Ramadan.
To feel a little bit like we've got our grandmothers still in our homes and things like that.
That's it. Okay, and then I've got on this side, I've got cucumber and mozzarella sticks.
And I love how nicely you've actually cut this and put it together. I must say, your presentation is really fantastic.
This is my passion, Zaheerah. So that's why I said everyone doesn't have to. You could just basically cut it up. But I'm giving you an idea and a platform. Inside here is yogurt, tukka, and za'atar with olive oil.
I don't think our viewers can see that. So there's. Let's just go through that again. You've got some yogurt at the bottom.
Yeah, it's full cream yogurt. I'm big on full cream. Full cream yogurt. There's tukka powder, which is a Middle Eastern powder. There's za'atar also a little. But I like to mix. I don't keep tradition. If something is on something else and it's meant to be there, That's not for me. I'll put it onto something else.
Absolutely.
So then I've got that, and then I've got the tomato. I love vegetables and I love healthy. So then you can use that. There's crackers on the side. Eat it together with the crackers and let it be a bit fulfilling for you.
Fantastic.
You know? I've got another gluten-free, which is to move away from my previous idea of the zucchini fritters, which I made my own recipe about. I did potato rosti, but this is more of an Indian version with more Indian spices, and I've changed the recipe a little bit, but that's what it is there. It's potato rosti with cream cheese, a radish, and coriander.
Yes.
And then next to that would be our artisan sandwiches. So I've got a variety. I wanted people to get a bit of an idea. This is just to start. You can go and do whatever you want to. I used rye bread. You could use it could be a bruschetta. It could be any kind of bread you wanted it to be. Put it with these amazing dips from Satar and Seal. None of these dips I've made myself. I purchased it because it's basically fresh, healthy, and that's the kick you need. I say change from chutneys and let's do healthier pestos, dips, hummus. There is such a variety, and I purchased it from them. So that's all on the artisans.
And we love them.
And then there's a pomegranate, and the color. It makes you want to take it. It makes you want to eat it.
And also their taste is absolutely fantastic. And like you said, very fresh, very fresh. And I like the idea of saying use the dips with a wide variety of other things that you've got, like the chicken skewers or anything else.
Exactly. And then in the middle I've got, and this is just a starter, an idea. I've posted on my Instagram page a lot of other ideas, but I brought, there's a limited amount of space what I could do. And I just brought what I could inspire others. I've got half maize platter, half cheese platter. Just to give an idea what you could do, we've got the fresh vegetables, I've got the artisan skewers, I've got a bit of an Indian twist to the chicken tikka skewers, which you could take it, dip. For those that, mainly the men who are looking for more meatier things, you could take it, put it as botis, put it as a steak, anything you want. Use the dips, use it, use the bread, and enjoy it. Let it be part of it. Everybody comes together. You eat from the platter. It's just that love. It's just a love for food. And on the cheese platter, we're going a more traditional way. I've got brie cheese, and I'd like for us to introduce these new cheeses. Alhamdulillah, we have grown as a Muslim community. We've got these approved by the Muslim approval cheeses. We've got brie, camembert, cream cheese. Take that idea. These cheeses can be put with jams, with nuts. You can have a figs that are syruped with it. Take a cracker and put it in. These are opening ideas that we previously, through Information Age, didn't have it. Through the Halal Factor, didn't have it. But now we do. So why go back? Let's go forward.
I keep moving forward.
So that's what I've done.
Raisa, it's absolutely fantastic. I think, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at all of this, and I'm inspired to go and write down my menu as well. And I'm hoping you post your menu up as an inspiration for the rest of us, so that we can follow suit through Ramadan as well. Because if we're sitting in this studio, you'll actually realize how fresh everything smells, how beautiful it all looks, and how it definitely is going to be far lighter on our tummies than many other options through the month of Ramadan, where our focus should be on our ibadah and doing other things during the month rather than what we're going to be eating. Raisa, shukran so much for joining us on air. It's been such a pleasure to have you on, and I look forward to following your page to see more inspiration through this month.
Thank you, Zaheerah, and thank ITV. It's been an absolutely amazing experience, and I hope I can inspire everybody else out there to take on the savory revolution, to save your savories for after Ramadan, and to eat a healthy way. We could feel healthy, more spirituality, and ease up your time, because that's what you need to do.
Absolutely. So with those fantastic ideas that Raisa has given us, they are simple, they're easy to prepare, easy to put onto your plates. Please do follow her on her Instagram page. Tag her, tag us in what you're preparing for iftar. Let's inspire each other and grow from there. Shukran for joining us for this segment. Stay tuned, where we come back with fabulous decor and new buildings that are happening around Johannesburg. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back after that fabulous feast that we have prepared for us and what we have to look forward to during the fasting month for our series and our iftars. For many of us, our homes are our sanctuaries. Our families are our most prized possessions. And we always want to make sure our homes are a place where our families walk in, our friends walk in, and it's a place that is comfortable, a place that is safe, a place that exudes love and peace. Today we're sitting in the most beautiful and exquisite venue, talking to Joe Sanchez. Joe, welcome to the studios.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank you and all the viewers at home for coming to see us at Urban View today.
Joe, you are the developer of Urban Views based in Westcliff. I mean, I drive past here regularly and I've yet to have seen how beautiful this place is. And I was so excited when we had the opportunity of coming in and viewing these magnificent apartments. You've been in the industry for 30 years. What makes you stay in an industry that is very difficult, that gets more complaints initially than it does anything else? And yet you're here smiling and you've put up something magnificent. What makes you stay in this business?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that our business as a whole is very focused on the commercial side. This particular project was very emotional for me because I got involved when we were looking for a house when the kids grew up, all moved out, and me and Vicky, my wife, were stuck at home on an oversized sort of home. So when we started looking for apartments that were going to give us security and the size that we required, we couldn't really find what we were looking for. And hence, Urban View, the idea was created.
So this is something that's become very personal for you, something that you've invested what you've wanted into a development.
Absolutely, and I hope that what we've chosen and selected as far as size and space design and everything else is something that most people will appreciate.
I think they will. I must say, you know, living in Johannesburg, being in South Africa all the time, you sit here and we've got so much access to land and there's so much of space and open spaces that we've all come to love. And then we've been recently seeing so many apartments coming up and they are so tiny and you feel very claustrophobic. And being South African, we all love being outdoors. We love the fresh air. We love the views. But walking into this space, it's huge. It feels like I'm sitting in a very spacious home. There's more than enough space. Did you plan this specifically or did this just happen as you progressed?
I think in reality we planned it, but as we moved every single day we were changing the ideas because it's always one thing to see something on drawing and then to literally walk through it and then start getting new ideas. So as far as a developer, we didn't really look at just focusing on what we were going to get as a return, but we were focusing more on the design and what sort of finish we were trying to accomplish. So that was a big difference from us.
And you can feel it. You can feel it in these apartments as well. So well done to you.
Thank you very much. And it's very hard for the viewers to see at home, but there's never a moment in this apartment that you feel like you're stuck in an apartment. In fact, the views allow you to make your house a lot bigger than what they actually are, where we're sitting right now.
And that's the part that's impressed me so much, is the design behind it. It hasn't just been 4 walls that have been put up. The windows are put in very structured spaces to make the most of fantastic views, to make the most of the sun coming in. The bedrooms have been well positioned. So your team has done a fabulous job of that.
I think the whole team, number one, my partner, myself, I think we've all driven each other crazy in the fact that we all had different ideas and different designs, but once we put them all together, we've landed up with Urban View, which I'm very proud of.
Absolutely. Joe, being in the industry for 30 years, when we were chatting a little bit off air, you're a very strong family man. I mean, your family has literally carried you through 30 years of this. When you drive past developments that you've put up, what does it feel like? Because I'm sure and I'm quite certain there's a part of you that goes into every space.
I think it's almost impossible to do anything like you are right now. You live in the moment and you put in all your commitment into the show. So every single project that we've ever got involved in does become emotional. It's very hard not to say that there is no emotion. And if there is no emotion, that's when you find an apartment that you walk in and you can critique it and say, well, I really don't really love this. It becomes a lot harder for people outside to critique if you put your love and emotion into anything that you build.
Fantastic. So with that, let's have a look around your apartment and see what you have to offer for our viewers, because I know our viewers, they love beautiful things, beautiful spaces, and spaces that offer that peace, that sanctuary, and that beauty all in one.
Fantastic.
Joe, standing here in this apartment, I often drive past, it's a very busy road, and I've often wondered about the noise and the impact of it on these beautiful apartments. But standing in here now, I can barely hear anything.
I think the most important part is that we've put double glazing throughout. But over and above that, this is a quieter part of Jan Smuts Avenue, even though at this moment in time with all the repairs going on the main highways, there's more people deviating to this route. But generally, it's a very peaceful area and very quiet.
And you've taken this space. What I love about this openness, besides the fantastic views that we've got out here, the sun that's coming in, we've got this open space. And for me as a mum, I think it's such a huge thing to be able to see my kids sitting down, having family at a dinner table, while any of us are in the kitchen for that matter, and still have an entire family section going on.
Well, the modern sort of way of living today is that you don't want to exclude anybody. So whether you're working in the kitchen, you must be part of the kids, you must be part of what's going on in the household. And even if I was sitting in a study working or vice versa, it should never seclude you from the rest of the family. And that was the idea with modern living.
And when we walked through here, these walls are exceptionally high. The doorways are much bigger than the normal standard doorways. Tell us a little bit about the detail that's been put in, because the one thing that stood out for me, we'll come to the decor in a little while because that is magnificent, but your detail and your attention to the flooring, the walls, the light switches, all of that, is that a standard thing throughout all these apartments that we see?
They're all identical. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-bedroom unit or a 2-bedroom or a 3 ensuite like we're looking at presently. The finishes have to be identical and the quality has to be identical. So irrelevant of the price range you need to get the same sort of quality.
And then when we walked in, we've got this beautiful entrance that shows us so many levels as we're sitting there, and you're not quite sure if you're sitting in an apartment or in a home, because we've got stairs going up, we've got stairs going down, and then you've got this magnificent space around you as well. Your architect had a lot of insight into how this was done.
Absolutely. I think I've aged him by about 10 years. So he's put up with me. So I must say thank you to him and the rest of the team. But the important part is that we wanted to compete with homes that you find in Dubai, you find in London, you find in the best capitals of the world, and then try and go beyond that. And I think if I must admit myself, we're very close to have gone beyond some of the best apartments around the world.
Absolutely. I've been in some of these apartments overseas, and I must say this has definitely set a different standard.
Thank you very much.
When you walk in, you mentioned the access of being able to come into a place, being able to travel and know there's one door to lock up. We're seeing a lot of the younger generation, especially the ones that are now in business and corporate fields, that need that accessibility to be able to travel around. And these kind of settings do afford that for them.
Well, I think the main thing is that the world's become such a small place. We can travel overnight and be in a different destination anywhere in the world. As far as my job is concerned, it gets me into Africa a lot. So when I do leave, I want to know that my family is safe, and Vicky, even if she's at home on her own, is capable of locking the place up, feeling comfortable and feeling secure. I think that's very, very important in today's environment.
That's it. I must agree with you, because I think peace of mind is such a big thing for us that we seem to forget it because we live in such a stressed environment on a regular basis here.
Absolutely. Look, first of all, we live in a wonderful country, but we can't hide away from the fact that we do have certain problems. So if you can come home to your sanctuary and know that you can go to sleep peacefully, know that it's secure, know that
there are no burglar bars.
Like to live.
Joe, the one thing I want to discuss a little further with you is the kitchen, which is one of our favorite family places. And I hate saying it's my favorite place because in my home, our entire family gets involved in the kitchen and all of us are there. And I love how neat it's been done, how everything is almost hidden behind. All the doors, all the appliances are hidden, the fridge and the freezer are hidden. Everything looks so neat.
So let me add, it's also very important. I come from a Spanish background. We're very continental, so the kitchen is probably the heart of the whole business. Yes. As far as the house is concerned. That's where you drive the business, that's where you make the food, that's where you bring the joy, the taste, everything else.
That's the heart of the home.
So that for me was critical, and obviously we made sure that we got everything we needed in the kitchen.
And the attention to detail has been fantastic, because when I looked at how everything was placed, when we opened up the drawers, the attention to detail has been meticulous.
I think in fairness today, a house without a great kitchen isn't a house any longer, because your focal point is your kitchen. That's what makes the whole family move and wake up and get around the house, around the food, at least in our sort of community and the way we like to live in that Spanish sort of background or Italian background. It's important that the kitchen is the focus point.
And I think you've done a splendid job of that. And they say that a family that eats together stays together. Eating in such a lovely kitchen will definitely keep them staying there for a lot longer as well.
Absolutely. I think that's the most important part, the food.
Joe, let's go and have a walk around and let's look at the rest of the space around here.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Joe, we are standing in this huge open space here, which doesn't feel at all like I'm standing in an apartment overlooking a busy road.
Well, this is the core to the whole apartment. From this double volume area, triple volume should I say, you can get down to the 3-bedroom ensuites and pyjama lounge and a little study area. You can go up to your top study, and then that takes you out into your penthouse garden and swimming pool. And I'm sure as we progress through the program, we get to see it.
Absolutely. I think we're going to end the program there because that's where I'm going to be sitting and having a cup of tea after this.
Fantastic. That's the special place for me.
Joe, when we walked into this space, besides being so huge, the attention to decoration and the attention to the detail is wonderful. I went into the bathroom earlier, and just the flowers on the side, the detail that's been put into every space is remarkable. Did you work very closely with the people who did the decor?
I cannot take the credit for the decor. I had a close friend of mine that just so happened to be at school with me when we were growing up a long time ago. He owns a company, him and his brother, called Decor Republic, and I asked them on the last minute that we were doing this shoot, and they came along, and in a matter of 2 days they had this whole apartment sorted out as we see it right now.
It's absolutely fantastic, and I'd love for our viewers to actually see the detail in the decor, because the plants that are around here, it just makes you feel so fresh. Everything just looks like it's been perfectly put, but yet it's a home. It doesn't feel like it's a museum. It feels warm, it feels cozy, it feels like my kids could just come here and feel like they're back home.
All I can say to Louis and Nuna is that they did a brilliant job, and I thank them very much, because I would never have got this all done in a matter of 2 days if I was doing the decor.
Being in the development and the construction business, do you often find that becomes a very difficult part, because your vision of putting together a space is one thing, but being able to envision how to decorate a space can change everything completely?
Absolutely. We all have different tastes, so it does help to have some sort of guidance on what the majority of the population is going to like, but you always want to be emotional in everything you do. So you always want to add your own touch to it, and I'm sure as the people start moving in, we'll change things to suit their own taste levels.
Absolutely, and I think that's the beauty of having decor and of having a home, is that your personal touch goes into it, very much like you said, yours goes into every building you've built.
Absolutely. So I think it's almost like making a dish in the kitchen. You know, you want to make sure that you're going to put the love and the emotion that that meal deserves, and we try to do it in our buildings.
I like that analogy. So even though the recipe may be the same, everyone will taste completely different.
Absolutely.
Joe definitely comes from the same culture that many of us share, which revolves around food and family and providing that love and safety for those that are around us. Joe, let's go and have a look. I'm desperate to see what the rest of this place looks like.
You're going to absolutely love these views.
Joe, before we head down to see the rest of the space, we've got to take a very quick ad break. When we come back, we'll be showing you far more of this beautiful apartment in the middle of the Westcliff. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back after that ad break. We are sitting and chatting to Joe Sanchez at Urban Views at the Westcliff. Joe, your development is magnificent. Every time we go from one level to the next, I'm even more surprised, pleasantly surprised. This is a 3-bedroom apartment.
Absolutely. I think overall we've got 470 square meters. On this level we've got 3-bedroom en-suites. We've got a pyjama lounge. We've got a little reading area here on the corner down next to our staircase. And more importantly, you've got the privacy you need if you're entertaining upstairs and the kids want to be separate.
For me, what works so well is I know that if I've got guests, the upstairs section can be completely for entertaining, and yet your space, your safe spaces, your rooms and that are all very private, and that privacy is maintained completely.
Fantastic. Let me show you one of the ensuite bedrooms.
I'd love to see it. Joe, you know, it says that a woman can never have enough closet space, but there's a lot of closet space in here.
Well, I'm hoping that we've put adequate enough covered space, but they always say it's never enough, so we've tried.
And there's a lovely walk-in closet section here on this end. You've added a lot of extra cupboards. I mean, this is something that you don't necessarily see in a lot of developments, because usually it's left to the people who buy to come in and put in the additional cupboard space.
Absolutely. We've tried to take care of everything besides your own personal taste in your furniture. So the mirrors in the bathrooms we've taken care of, drawers that you normally wouldn't find in a development. And those are things that are very difficult to find single items that are going to fit into the build that you've done. So we've sort of tried to take care of that for the end user.
Having been involved recently in building and that, the one thing that I've noticed is you've actually left a gap completely at the top for curtains and for blinds.
Absolutely. So it's a pet hate of mine to see the rods sticking out at different levels to the window. So we've tried to make it in such a way that you'll only have the draping coming down or your blind coming down.
And that also fits with the whole contemporary feel that we've got here, because you actually don't see it at all during the day.
Absolutely. So if you had to pull your blinds up, you would have this view of openness as we have right now.
And then as we've been walking around, I've noticed that you've got the central air conditioning heating system.
So all the units have been designed to have its own units and the different levels. So you can vary your temperatures from your living space to your bedroom space in case we have differences in the type of temperature we want to live under.
As most couples usually do.
Absolutely.
So this is making sure everyone is happy and sorted.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. I'd love to have a quick look at the bathrooms, and then we've got some more rooms to look at.
Absolutely.
Joe, the bathrooms are so spacious, and you've said to me off camera that the other ones are even bigger than the ones we've been seeing.
Absolutely. We've got a variety of different apartments. The single one-bedroom unit, if you see it, will be bigger than most two-bedrooms that you'll find in the Sandton region. But the most important is that we wanted to make sure that every family member had an ensuite with enough cupboard space and enough of their own sort of space to feel okay in the apartment.
And I think that's what's so nice, is because every room that you walk into feels like the moment you close the door, it's a private little sanctuary on its own. Although the home already gives that, each room provides that on a very personal basis as well.
Absolutely. With my kids growing up, they always sort of told me what they expected their rooms to look. Even though I wanted to have some sort of input in it, they always made sure that they finished their rooms the way they liked. And in this sense, you can see that with the decorators we had, has changed the whole feel to the bedroom.
Absolutely. I think all our kids are exactly the same on that. Personal style has to come in everyone, even if we don't agree with it. Tell me, with regards to your decor here, did you give them a brief on what you wanted, how you wanted the room to feel or look like? Because I absolutely, as I walked in here, I thought, oh my goodness, these lampshades are something my kids would love.
I must be very honest, I can't take any credit for this. This must be Decor Republic, and Louis and Cindy and Nuno did a splendid job. In fact, I mentioned it was over 2 days and probably in hours, 12 hours, that they started and finished making the apartment look like it is today.
And I'm really hoping that our viewers get to see the detail on the side pedestals and the detail that's been put into all the decor, the artwork that's gone with it, the linen, how amazing it all feels. They've done a very splendid job. So I think you've all worked well as a team.
I couldn't be happier with them. They did a great job.
Now I'd want to go up and see the prize position of this entire apartment.
That's my favorite place. That's the gem of the apartment.
Let's go through. Joe, every time we walk through the home, I think I've found my favorite spot, and I've been hard pressed to say this is it, but I think I've finally found the favorite spot in the home. This is magnificent.
I think this is my favorite spot because it allows you to be in one with this beautiful city we have. Wherever you look, it's green, and it's the right place after a long day at work to come and sit down and reflect your day's achievements or your day's problems.
Absolutely, and I think the problems would feel a lot easier in this space.
Absolutely, that'll make it a lot easier to deal with.
Definitely. When we walked into the study, for me, two favorite things is having a cup of tea and reading a good book. And I felt like that's exactly what I'm going to be doing very soon here.
Well, the study is, for me, one of the favorite places because it looks down the core of the 3 volumes, so you can be close to the kids, but far away enough to carry on doing your work. And you interact with the family, even though you're not part of them, you know what's going on and you can visually see them.
I love the fact that it's a little study area. I know my kids would turn this into their own entertainment area if they had their choice. But the versatility of being able to come out here in Johannesburg, we are in the middle of an apartment in Westcliff, and I have views like this. It's amazing.
Well, I think we all live in a beautiful city and we just don't take the advantage of design in our space to be able to see the city that we live in.
Joe, with all these apartments that you've built, I mean, I've got neighbors around me which I can't quite see right now, but how does it work in terms of the privacy? I know right now I can't see them at all.
No, the way we've designed this is that every single apartment will have 100% privacy. So if you overlook on any side, we've made sure that any weak point we've either laser cut sunnim so that there's 100% privacy for everybody.
And when I see the rooftop gardens, I love the fact that it's so easy maintenance, but I'm not looking at an ugly roof. There's actually some pebbles on top of it, which makes it look so neat.
Well, the pebbles are twofold. One, it helps the thermal design in keeping it cool or warm in winter. And then the second is the view, that you don't have this horrible glare from the waterproofing. So those were the purposes of it.
So again here, you've thought through everything. There hasn't been a detail that's been skipped or missed in the process.
I think this has been very emotional for me because ultimately we wanted to know that we could live in any space that we built, and I could easily say that I'd live in any apartment that we've created here.
And that's a big thing to say too, because for a developer to say, I'm willing to live in this space with my family, then you know he's definitely put his all into it.
Absolutely. There's a lot of things that the normal man in the street won't pick up, but we've used a special coating that comes with a 10-year warranty. We've used special plumbing that comes with a 10-year warranty. Our piping system, our electrical systems, everything we've gone is to make sure that it's a spec that I would utilize in my own home.
And everything of the best.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Joe, as much as this is my favorite spot, I have to let our viewers see what's behind here. This is the surprise element of this magnificent apartment of Urban View Developments in the Westcliff. This is a swimming pool sitting at the top of Westcliff overlooking these magnificent views.
Absolutely. You can't have a home without space where the kids can enjoy themselves, and in fact, as adults we also want to enjoy ourselves. So we've put a lot of thought into the pool area. We've created a martini seat, and we've made sure that the glazing allows you to be able to sit in the pool and still get these magnificent views that we're looking at right now.
And again, it ties into having a family setting again. It's not just an apartment that's for urban dwelling, it's literally family living.
Well, we wanted to make sure that in every aspect we ticked off every box that you would normally get in a house in a suburb, but have that security and independence of being close to the city. And you find that people are moving closer and closer to the cities because of transport and traffic and everything else.
And this is, I mean, this is not a small pool, this is not a splash pool, this is a fantastic, nicely sized swimming pool, a wonderful sized entertainment area where you could really manage many guests.
Well, we had a preview where we had 40 people in a smaller unit, and we were comfortably eating all night and speaking with good friends and everything else, and it worked out perfectly.
Joe, what would be your advice for anyone who wants to purchase an apartment style living, who wants to move from their homes, who feel that their kids have outgrown their spaces, or who just want a little bit of security? What are the tips for people, for our viewers, that they need to look out for when they're making this move?
I think the most important part is to make sure you find something that you're going to be happy with. I mean, there's lots of apartments out there, and they all vary in price, and it'll fit your space in time where you are. But the most important is go and see the apartment, go and see the finishes. And it's very difficult because a lot of the apartments today are built and sold off plan.
Yes.
So by the time they've built, you've already purchased and you've committed yourself. If at all possible that you can see a finished product, that will always be the first prize.
Perfect. And what the little tips, something that someone can say when I walk into an apartment, what is something that you look out for? When you walk into an apartment, what is the one thing that stands out for you? I know we mentioned the kitchen as being a great aspect where you want to see family living happening. But is there anything in particular that when you walk into an apartment that stands out for you?
I think the quality of the build and the attention to detail is very, very important. If you're going to live in that space, you want to make sure that the guys that have built the place have built it correctly, made sure that everything's been ticked off that should be done, your electrical compliance, your plumbing, everything else. Because once you've taken occupation of this a year down the line, if there's no guarantees in place, you're sitting with a problem.
Absolutely. But Joe, thank you so much for having us in your space. It is absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to have my informal tour of the rest of the area as well. But well done to you. It is a magnificent space that you've put together.
Well, I'd like to thank you for coming to see us and all your viewers at home. and hopefully if they want to come and see the actual site, they must just let us know.
I'm sure they will be. We have been absolutely treated today to one of the most magnificent views in Johannesburg, and I don't say this lightly, that the attention to detail has been profound. You walk through the space, it feels huge, it feels comfortable, and it's definitely a space not just for couples but definitely for families also, for people like us who enjoy our entertaining. We've had your feedback on that. This is a space that allows a lot of that, but in a very secure and a safe environment. So while the rest of you go off and get ready for Ramadan, I've got a wonderful cup of tea waiting for me, a book that I've seen on Joe's study desk, and I'm going to take in the views that Johannesburg has to offer me for the rest of today. Shukran so much for joining us on air. We look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place. Ramadan Mubarak. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.